Over the past month, I've been reading a book called An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth by Colonel Chris Hadfield, and I feel the book can be best summarized by this small quote. Sweat the small stuff, and even in my line of work, it's all small stuff. And this surprised me. Not because the idea itself is so revolutionary or unheard of, but because this is coming from, well, an astronaut, and a test pilot, and a fighter pilot, and an author, and a father, and a husband, and, well, in other words, a very prestigious individual. It surprised me that somehow a book about a very complex and interesting man with stories of going to space, flying fighter jets, winning the astronaut lottery, crashing the previously mentioned fighter jets, and retiring after accidentally raising awareness for space exploration by singing a custom rendition of David Bowie's Space Oddity is still, at its core, a book about basic morals and humility. This book was first suggested to me by my dad, as most of my books are, but given that I'm not exactly an avid reader, his suggestion went mostly ignored. It wasn't until mid-October, when the book was gifted to me on my birthday, that I developed any sort of want to read it, but it was still a rather meager one at that. However, with a book talk coming up, I saw an opportunity to finally sit down and see why both my dad and Google so desperately wanted me to read this, and I was not disappointed. The book itself is divided into three main sections that correspond to a certain part of Chris's life. From watching the first moon landing in 1969 to climbing out of a space capsule for the last time in his foreseeable life, each section has meaning. Anything you'd think an astronaut humbled by space travel might idealize, Hadfield's written about it, and yet he always manages to make it personal. And that's one of the things I've come to truly adore regarding Chris's writing. There's always a story. Which makes sense given his pedigree, but there's much more to it than that. Experience breeds wisdom, and Chris certainly has experience, more than anyone I know and possibly will ever know, and it makes these sentiments expressed all the more true. I think I would recommend An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth to any human. Granted, especially those who like space and NASA, but this book applies anywhere and to anyone. While, yes, it has a lot of space stories that probably would bore someone who isn't all that interested, but that's not what this book is about. It's about learning, it's about living, and it's about remembering to sweat the small stuff. Thank you for watching.